I'm Santa, and I endorse this product or service.
Santa's laughter mocks the poor, it's Christmas time again. You hear it in the songs of joy promoting fiscal gain. You see it in the credit cards that plaster down the drain. Cause Santa's laughter mocks the poor, and here it comes again. Santa's laughter mocks the poor, it echoes in the night.
Welcome to a Blokebusters Christmas special. I am Paul.
And I'm Brian.
And today we'll be going all festive and jolly as we regale you with our reviews of some of the holidays and ours most popular films.
And stay tuned for the end of the podcast where each of us will be revealing our naughty and nice list of Christmas films. And just to clear us up, naughty has no positive meanings whatsoever. Not those kind of Christmas movies, unfortunately.
Now, we won't be touching on Frosty the Snowman, or if you're in the UK, The Snowman.
Or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or The Abominable Snowman, whatever. All those, yes, American classic, blah, blah, blah. They're made for TV, they're not feature-length films.
Yes.
That's, I think, our main...
And also, because this is Christmas themed, despite the fact that they are always shown at Christmas in the UK, we will not be discussing Jurassic Park or The Great Escape.
I'm just thinking of the Raptors with Santa hats on, and that's making me smile now.
That probably would have made the film better as well. If there had been a festive slaughter, I think.
Yeah. Clever girl and Santa.
Clever girl, jingle, 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 jingle.
It would have made dying less.
Yeah.
I might chuckle while my intestines are being ripped out, but probably not.
Yeah. At least I'm being eaten by the Tyrannosaurus Rex, pretending to be Santa.
And what did you say the other one? And
the Great Escape. Yeah,
the classic holiday hijinks of Steve McQueen.
Yes, I mean I know Christmas is mentioned in The Great Escape, but I still can't remember why they decided
I don't know.
Was the
They're
Christmas
both great
film.
Escapist films. I mean, not with escapism. Just where you go to escape. I don't know. All right, so yeah. Wrong podcast if you're wanting to hear about those films at this point in time.
Although I had to throw this in just mainly because my mother will kill me if I don't. Who's the greatest character in The Great Escape? The Forger. Let me come with you. I can see perfectly.
All right.
Sorry for the one insider joke.
This is okay.
All right. Brian, what will we be starting off with
I think
today?
first on the docket is the much beloved holiday classic, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes, and based on that intro, you would imagine that Brian is probably the one that doesn't quite like this film.
Oh, it's a pile of horse shit. No.
Yes, I don't think that's the case.
No, I don't, and I think you might overestimate me a tad. I will say I view it as a classic. In my mind, there are old classics, standards that I consider like the 1940s and the 50s. 60s, a lot of the black and whites, a lot of the quieter, slower-paced classic Christmas stories. Yep. And then I think there are modern classics, which kind of started in the 80s to me.
Yeah, each major generational gap.
Being like one of them for me. I know it's always shown in my house. It was always in my household and many of my friends. It's always was on American television that time of year ever since it's first aired on TV, since the TV premieres every year. And I will just say it's just one of those films, the classic structure of we're going to celebrate this holiday or celebrate whatever, and just things get worse and things get worse. And, you all know it. Probably. And if you haven't seen it now, let's face it, you're probably not going to watch it unless you're doing homework for a podcast.
Yes.
Right, Paul?
Just in case you didn't catch that thinly veiled poke there. Yes, I watched this. What is this? Today is Wednesday. I watched this on Monday.
Yeah.
Because I'd never seen it
And
before.
I will admit to a high nostalgia factor affecting my view of the film.
I can definitely see that, yes.
Okay, much like I believe we had the discussion on Goonies, probably not on the podcast, but
yes,
yes,
you had the very much nostalgia. That one.
It's impossible to separate. Maybe I have discussed it. It sounds familiar, but
we have talked about this off air briefly, and just to go into it very quickly here, I thought it was all right. I didn't necessarily see what most people see. Obviously, the people that grew up watching the film, I didn't see the great thing, but it was definitely an alright film.
Are you a fan of any of the other vacation films? With John Candy, the original, or the European? Or
I don't actually know how many of the vacations I've seen. Probably very little. I've definitely not seen any other Chevy Chase.
Because they definitely, in my mind, get worse, not better.
From there on.
And Christmas Vacation being third in that line.
Right.
But still, I mean, the original with them going to Wally World, I mean, I'm not trying to get into a vacation thing, but was, with John Candy, and you can't beat John Candy. Not for a comedy.
I was not aware he was in it, so I might have to check that one out.
It's worth seeing that. You'll have to watch 98% of it to see him.
Okay. Maybe I'll catch the last 5 minutes. I don't know.
But, and European's a classic. But I still view this as a classic, even though there is a lot of poorly acted scenes in my mind. No, that's enough out of you, sir. I love the character of Cousin Eddie, as ridiculous as he is. I've seen the shitter out in front. Shitter's full! Yeah. Come on.
I did enjoy his character, I think mainly because he was played by one of the few characters I really enjoyed in Independence Day. Mm-hmm. The same guy who was like, I knew these aliens would come back for me.
Yes, Cousin Eddie could have lived on as a crop duster, I believe. Yeah. I don't know, there are just a lot of classic scenes in for me. I will say, if I pop it in, I did buy like the deluxe Blu-ray tin thing I had to buy. Oh, they have a little miniature eggnog mug, and they have fake snow in there, and there's coasters, and
it's not the $5 version.
No. But even on that version, even on TV, I have no patience for the B storyline of Elaine from Seinfeld and the neighbors, the whole neighbors being. I could go without that. I don't know.
There was no point.
There was no point to that storyline whatsoever, other than their hijinks are causing other people misery as well. You could have one scene of that and not follow that. I don't need to see that storyline completed in any sense with the squirrel jumping on her face and the door.
Actually, I was going to say you could have got rid of them entirely, except for that scene where they're like, "I'm fed up of them doing this. I'm going to complain," and you would have got their entire B story right there.
Yeah,
because that's.
And I did enjoy when he asked, "Where are you going to fit a tree that size? Bend over, I'll show you."
Yeah,
you got a lot of nerve talking to me that way. I wasn't talking to you. That I would like to see stay in. But that kind of irks me every time. Yeah. Still love it. Still love when he goes on his rant. Still love the Jelly of the Month Club. I will order my Jelly of the Month Club t-shirt at some point off of their website. I don't know, not to plug other people's websites, but it's like Christmas Vacation Collectibles. Go check it out, people. They got a lot of great stuff on there if you love the movie. The eggnog mugs. Oh, yeah. Full size. Yes. But Cousin Eddie's Dickie as well on there. Who can leave the door not wearing his Dickie? But I think, I don't know, I've said my piece on it. I love it. Well, love it as a holiday movie. Right. If I'm using my standards that we use on this podcast, I know we agreed to not do this, and I'm not going to do it for every film.
Nope. Yeah.
I would rate it at about a -5.5.
Okay, yeah.
And
not one of your favorites, but definitely
one. No, I mean, on a scale all the way down to -20 is completely unwatchable. I'd say -5.5.
Yeah,
and I can have feelings of -3 during it, But I think it holds up mostly. Yeah, and I know you were new to the experience.
Yeah, very new. As I said, I don't know if I can say I've watched another vacation film. Maybe when I was younger, I saw one, and I'm just not getting it in my head. But with this one, watching it, I sat down and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this. I'm sure we'll talk about it on the podcast. And I started watching it, and there was not much really grabbing me. I mean, I thought, obviously, they're going to get the tree, and it was like, it's just a road battle with the person. Just like, okay, kind of getting this. And then they get the big tree. Where's it going to go? I don't know. It was a lot of sort of, that's a nice idea. From me, anyway. I did enjoy the scene where he does finally lose it after getting the bonus of a subscription to the Jelly of the Month Club.
Anyone looking for a last minute present out there? I'll tell you what I really want. Yeah. Mr. Shirley.
Yes, one of the best.
And where's Cousin Eddie?
One of the best endings to a big rant, I think. Because obviously you had the big rant, and the question is always like, how do you end it? Do you just have them just kind of collapsing into a chair, like, I'm down, or do you have them just leaving, ranting? But no, just finally finishes the rant, turns with a smile, like, where's that Tylenol? Where's the Tylenol?
Yeah.
For those of you in England, where's the Nurofen?
And it's just because it's building to that moment. It's like, how much more can the guy take, just with the relatives being there and everything going wrong.
One thing that did kind of make me smile as well, thinking about it now, when he's watching the films, and I'd completely forgotten that he was sitting on the thing. When I saw her going up for it, I was like, oh, he's going to be caught wearing the clothes. And that wasn't the joke. It was, oh, he now fallen on his wife. Fall straight down. That was a good moment. I do think the main failing for me on the film, not that the film is bad, but I'm not saying it's a bad film. I'm just saying that it seems to focus quite heavily on sort of slapstick humor.
Yeah.
And as a general rule, I'm not really a fan of slapstick humor when it's just done as slapstick humor. Like sort of witty slapstick humor, I'm more of a fan of, like, kind of Monty Python type style type thing. But just the slapstick of when he's in the attic and he's hit in the face with a plank, so he steps backwards. He's hit in the back with a plank, so he steps forward again, hit in the face with the plank.
Which Sideshow Bob would do in The Simpsons many years later.
Now that is the thing of,
that's the appropriate
funny
venue.
Then it's not funny, and then it's funny again. That is what I prefer, rather than slap, slap, slap. Oh, okay. Like that.
But it's also a very touching moment where he's watching the home movies. And with his uncle in there and his parents, and
it's got good moments in it. It does have some good acting in it from some of the people, and I guess maybe I just didn't, because I didn't grow up in that type of suburbia.
Yeah.
Like, the Christmas lights, I don't think we had many, if any, Christmas lights up on our house. We were going to see other Christmas lights. We never had anything to that extreme.
And I don't know, I've never, celebrated, I don't know how an English Christmas varies in what ways, other than, like, superficial things like food and stuff like that, but as far as I can speak to, the pressure, what that movie speaks on is the pressure everyone feels to have a good time, to have a successful time with your family, who presents a challenge to many of us. It's just, a lot of people identify with that, which is, I think, why most people love it.
No, I get that, although failing for me was most of these relatives come out of nowhere. They don't mention the relatives before they turn up. It's like, oh, there's my brother-in-law. There's my aunt.
Well, sir, if you've seen other vacation films, you know that some of them are not new.
I will grant you that there's probably a backstory to most of these people that I've not seen. Yeah. But it does kind of, like, for someone just seeing that film that is always on at Christmas, it does kind of come out of left field. It's like, wait a minute, who are these people that just turn up?
Lewis has probably got to be my other than Eddie, my favorite relative, the old man with the cigar. If you don't remember the names, who burned his tree down. It was ugly anyway. But I do have to say, for the big fans of this movie out there, I got to tell you my favorite line, and it's not even a line of dialogue by any of the characters. It's while the grandmothers, I believe, are sitting and watching. Well, sleeping while the parade is on, the holiday parade, Macy's Day or whatever parade, and that you just hear the commentator saying the nutcracker or float or is coming along or something, and it's the really strong wind and it's gusty, and at this point I don't even see the nuts, and there's like 3 seconds that go by. Oh, here they are. Here come the nuts. And if you know what I'm talking about, I love you, but it's like barely heard, and it's probably my favorite line. I love it for its juvenile quality. I love it just because of the enthusiasm of the commentator. Oh, here they are. Here come the nuts.
You know that anyone that is commentating on something like that, that's how they speak. That they have to go like that, no matter what it is they're saying.
They're commentating on very slow-moving traffic, so they gotta embellish a little bit. But yeah, not even anything said by any other character. Second place is, here's a knot. When he has a giant ball of Christmas lights. But I think I digest.
You digest?
I digest.
Okay.
I love speaking that correctly. All right. Moving on, I think. Shall we tackle Scrooged, you say?
Sure. Okay.
Lead this one off for us.
All right. Scrooged, in case you don't know, and I wouldn't be surprised if some people don't, because I only found out about this maybe 5 years ago. I think it was one of those things that I happened to be walking into a store and I saw, like, oh, this is on DVD. What is this? It's Bill Murray and it's Scrooge, and it clear. Obviously, with the title like Scrooge, it's a Christmas Carol story, and he is basically the head of this television company, and he is being a Scrooge. He's obviously not the Scrooge, but he is being a Scrooge, and they are showing A Christmas Carol on their station. They've got obviously the full costumed get up, everyone's doing it. He's not spending any time with his family, and he is being a Scrooge, as I keep saying. And so
being an asshole.
Yeah. And so the people that he thinks are part of the show, being the ghosts, actually get to show him his family, his background, and you see a lot of like a good scene I actually like. He is being shown by the Ghost of Christmas Present, the people that he's not with, and they're playing, I can't remember what it's like, it's not Trivial Pursuit, but it's one of those trivia game thing, and he's there in the background, and it's like, what's this? And his nephew's just going like, oh, I know this, and Bill Murray being Bill Murray in the background, like, it's this, come on, you know this, I told you, it's this, what do you do? And it's got that actually had a nice payback at the end, because obviously being Scrooge, he ends up being the nice guy at the end. He goes on the live TV on the set to basically sort of give his "I'm a better man now" speech, and in the end he goes, "And for my nephew," and then he gives the answer to the trivia question, and you see his nephew like, how the hell does he know that?
That is a great moment.
Yeah. It's just, I like it. It's one of my favorite tellings of A Christmas Carol.
I will say, I know that sounds sacrilegious or blasphemous maybe to a lot of people to say that's also my favorite telling of A Christmas Carol. George C. Scott, yep. Good enough. Great actor, doesn't do it for me in that one. But this one, since I lean towards comedy, and Bill Murray, let's face it, man crush. I'll fully admit, for the comedy bones,
Yeah.
Not for the looks, of course. But yeah, I will. Bill Murray's misses are very few and far between.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing this. I have a larger history again with this film,
right?
Much like Vacation, because I remember being young enough that I was scared shitless by the ghost in the elevator, because when he opens, and that was one of the most frightening things my child eyes had ever seen.
And of course, being Bill Murray, he goes for the second look.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I love the movie. Great scene with Bobcat firing and trying to kill him after he gets laid off, and just Wascally Wabbit trying to hunt him down. I love that scene. And also another reason to love this movie is my 80s crush, Karen Allen. Kind of in the twilight of her hotness, but, Raiders and Starman, just, she was the female Gutenberg. Everything had Karen Allen.
I will say, talking of Raiders very quickly, one of the most annoying heroines.
Come on.
Just solely based on the fact that all she is a high-pitched person to kidnap. It's the voice in that film.
How dare you speak ill of Marion Ravenwood? I love Marion Ravenwood.
All right.
But, yeah. Anything else on Scrooge? I don't know.
No, I just say, as I said, one of my favorite Christmas Carol thing. The other one actually being A Muppet Christmas Carol, just because you got Michael Caine. That's pretty much all I need to say. You have Michael Caine in A Christmas Carol, and therefore it's always a solid performance. Whether or not the script is any good, I'll leave it up to everyone else. But a solid performance by Michael Caine. And, can't fault Kermit. Miss Piggy I can. Kermit I can't.
Yeah. No Karen Allen is she.
Yeah.
It's moving right along. I'll leave it up to you. What shall we tackle next here, sir?
Alright. Well, personally, I think now we should probably go into maybe the Home Alone.
Home Alone. All right.
All right.
Would you like to lead this one off?
Sure.
Again?
Okay, I'll lead this one off. Home Alone. Obviously, the Christmas film where the boy is left behind. It's
our second John Hughes script, I believe.
Yeah, and obviously everyone knows now the fighting the burglars as they come in, and I like the film because of the two burglars. Everyone else, with the exception of obviously John Candy again, making an appearance and just being the typical sort of happy-go-lucky big guy without the sad story that is given in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It actually could kind of be the same guy, really.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, the two burglars were my favourite part of this. Not Kevin's interaction with them, just them. You know, I liked seeing what happened to them. Macaulay Culkin, I think this was at the point where he was still young enough to be doing all these things, and then I think he kind of pushed it a bit too much. I think Home Alone 2 was going a bit...
I can't believe they got him back for what? He did just the 2?
He did
3
2.
Was someone else.
3 was someone else.
Yeah.
4 was someone else. 5 was someone
Wow,
else.
they bled that rock to...
I even watched 4 because French Stewart was in it, and I went through...
That's a reason to watch something?
It was on TV, I saw French Stewart, and I was like, I'll give this a shot. After about 10 minutes, I changed the channel. It was like... I went into it thinking that, you know, well, maybe I saw some of 3 and thought it was bad, and so I saw 4 and I thought, well,
how bad are these parents? Why are they not? Why is this kid not in protective custody?
Yeah. Everyone's leaving their kid alone at Christmas, for God's sake. I mean, at least in the first 2 Home Alone films, it's genuine mistake, even though the first one is still...
It's still a highly implausible idea or concept.
Well, especially now, the second one, there's no way a kid could get on the wrong plane at Christmas. How did he find a seat? At Christmas to New York.
I don't know.
How did they find a seat to New York? Anyway, so 3 was terrible, and sort of 10 minutes of 4, and it was like, wow, this is terrible. I'm not going to bother with 5. I don't know.
Does that exist? Tell me that doesn't exist.
I swear 5 exists. It came out a couple of years ago, I think. I know that you might now be rushing to IMDb.
I am IMDbing this right now, folks. I will find out for you.
I am absolutely certain there was a 5 that came out, because when I realized there was a 5 that came out, it was just...
5 is returning no results. Home Alone, The Holiday Heist. Is that considered 5?
I believe that is the one.
2012.
Yeah.
All right. Ed Asner. Hey, all right.
I saw...
Is he the child now? Is it about someone that leaves him at an old folks home and he gets left behind?
Now that I'd want to see.
It's the Abe Simpson that gets left behind.
Remake Home Alone,
but with Abe Simpson
in a retirement home where everyone leaves and goes home, and then he wakes up in his bed and he's the only one there.
And the plus side, people with Alzheimer's will be able to enjoy this film over and over.
Tasteless humor for the podcast.
My deepest apologies, Phil. But you won't remember me saying this.
Right.
But if you have relatives, you will, and you will just send everything to Paul's email. Send my death threats to him. All right. I do not have as warm, gushy feelings for this film. I like it fair enough. Even seeing it when I was younger. Let's see, it's 1990. I probably saw it a couple of years thereafter. Maybe 93, something like that. But still, between the ages of like 10 and 12, I saw it.
Right.
And slightly amused. Even at that age, I thought many parts were pretty dumb.
Yeah. Very much so.
It's a tower defense movie. It's Dread, but more watchable. But funnier. And intentionally funnier.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Dread had its funny parts, but
not as visually stunning.
No, not as much.
But everything else.
Not as much 3D drug use.
Yeah.
But
I will say, the one thing that I took away from Home Alone, even the first time I watched it, I wanted the black and white film that he watches. Mm-hmm. I wanted to watch that. Yeah. Because I thought that looked like a better film than Home Alone did.
I enjoyed the storyline with the old man and his backstory and seeing that through. I thought that was okay. I did want to go back to a quick cast shout out if we can back up to Scrooged again.
Sure.
Carol Kane as the Ghost of Christmas Present, who is a comedy legend.
Yeah.
I just needed to be a terrible error to not mention her. You know her from The Princess Bride. You know her from tons of things.
Yeah.
But she's just a comedy legend, and I just want to bring that up real quick.
Please.
But Home Alone, yes. Okay, Micro Machines. Okay, Hot Doorknob. Okay, Tarred and Feathered. And God, it's so repetitive for me.
Yeah.
I would say I would not watch if it was on TV now.
I might.
I've gotten my use out of
it.
it.
Yeah.
And the sequel, I unfortunately saw. I'm like, oh, I've seen this movie, but it's in New York now.
A change of setting.
Yes, but not plot whatsoever.
Yeah.
And you can't blame John Hughes for that one, because it was only characters based on John Hughes.
I do find it odd with the Home Alone sequel. It's like, why? I'm sure they give an explanation in the film, but did it have to be the same villains again? It's like he's somehow gone across, it seems, a fair distance to New York, and that happens to be where they are now. It's like, no, you could have gone with different villains. Although I will say the saving grace for me of Home Alone 2.
Pesci's good. You know.
Right, Pesci's good, and Tim Curry as the concierge at the hotel.
Yeah.
Tim Curry, pretty much anything he's in, I'll watch him.
That made me. I was able to stomach the film because of Tim Curry.
Yeah.
It didn't sit well in my stomach. No. I had some indigestion.
Yeah.
One other thing is I am deathly afraid of spiders. Very manly, I know. But you might understand why that's another reason to hate Home Alone.
Yes.
I can, I'm about to get goosebumps thinking about it. Let's move on.
Moving on.
Home Alone.
Right.
Done. How about How the Grinch Stole Christmas?
Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch
Dr. Seuss. I know we said we were only going to talk feature length. I think we can make an exception for this one.
Yes, specifically because the one following this will be The Grinch. The Jim Carrey one. So to start with then, so that we can get an understanding of your viewpoint on The Grinch, let's start with the short one. So I'm assuming, again, growing up in America, you would have seen it on television.
Yeah. Quick backstory. I was read lots and lots of Dr. Seuss as a child, as many of my generation were.
I know I was read some.
Okay, favorite, by the way, Red Fish, Two Fish, or One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. I can't believe I screwed up the title of my favorite Dr. Seuss book. It's not Green Eggs and Ham, which is many people's favorite. That'd be number 2. But, So that history of the love of that world, of Dr. Seuss, of the rhyming, of the imagination, just the uniqueness and ingenuity that those stories brought, always with a lesson that was easily palatable for a young child, but still life lessons you need to learn.
Yeah.
So going into that, my love for How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the short, I don't know, it's runtime, I don't know, a half hour plus, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
half hour to 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But, watched it in grade school, every year at Christmas. Teachers would play it or something,
Yeah.
And
well, that would
help.
help.
So they could take a nap. I'm sure they were, looking back, I'm sure they were hungover or something. Let's show the kids the Grinch.
That is the John Mulaney thing. Don't you have to teach tomorrow? I'll just show a video.
That's what that was for. But, so watched it tons, and I just love it. It's classic animation, which I love. I love the hand-drawn.
Yeah, always good. The animation.
Not necessarily the story, but that just always works for me. It's just well told. It's short. Easily watch.
Short is often a plus.
So obviously, if you have children or something, you don't have to sit them down for 2 hours. It's 35 minutes and it's done, or whatever it is. And I don't know that. Other than that, you all know the story, so I don't need to go about, hey, it's the Grinch and he's a jerk and he's going to learn the importance of sharing and giving and not being a jerk.
It's kind of A Christmas Carol without the ghosts.
Yeah, pretty much. And you got the dog with the reindeer ears, and which is fantastic. And nice. Well, so I love that one.
Well, I again, this is one that I didn't see growing up because I think it's a very stereotypically American, The Grinch Stole Christmas thing. Not to say that it might have been shown in the UK, but I wasn't watching it. I saw it when I was older, and again, I'm going to assume the nostalgia factor there is probably a big draw for a lot of people just because it's always on at Christmas in America. I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. As you said, the animation, very solid, and I wasn't too into the songs that were in it. My wife is a big Grinch fan. So she's very into the songs, You're a Mean One, or You're a Rotten One, whatever the song is.
You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
So she loves those, and I've heard them fairly often. And
go on.
Anyway,
yes, it's fantastic.
So I wasn't as much a fan of it, and I think I would say everyone should see it at least once. just to have seen it. As we've said, solid animation.
And a quick correction, it is only 26 minutes long.
Oh,
so
even shorter.
And another reason is Boris Karloff as the narrator.
Yeah, I could not fault the narrator in that film.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so with our backstory on how the Grinch stole Christmas, let's quickly move into The Grinch. The 2000, I believe. Jim Carrey as the Grinch.
The abomination. Who can guess I love this movie? No. I feel it was a travesty. Right. I feel it shit all over that 1966 film. And did it with pleasure. And I'm going to go on record. I hate these long version adaptations of the Dr. Seuss. Okay. The Dr. Seuss in particular.
Are you telling me right now that you did not like the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat?
No! And I hate the women that made me go and watch that. Because my friend and I, Dustin, if you're listening, we wanted to go see Elf. That was out at the time, playing because there were 2 Christmas movies playing at that time, and you had Elf, and you had the Grinch,
and the Grinch.
And wait, yeah?
You were just
no, Cat in the Hat. I'm sorry, no, 2 Christmas. Me no function well, beer without. But yes, so the Cat in the Hat, and we want to see Cat in the Hat. So of course we did what the ladies wanted to do, and that is the last time they get to pick the film, because we will get to the other later. But no, Cat in the Hat did not work for me.
Okay.
Those stories are short for a reason. You do not need to adapt them. King Kong, while we're on the subject, did not need to be 4.5 hours long and have a movie in itself of giant bugs attacking people and attacking Gollum and
T-Rexes.
Yeah, and T-Rexes and all that. You know, I think a story needs to be as long as it needs to be. If you can tell it in 10 minutes and it's a good story, like we made the point on that Disney short, didn't need to be a second shorter or a second longer. It was a well-told story. Yeah. And
even without the dialogue, again.
But, you know, I don't see why did it need to be made. Right. Why did we need a 90-minute version or whatever of How the Grinch Stole Christmas? Okay, he's going to steal the Christmas from the Who's, and then he's going to give it back. The end. Why do we need all of this character development into all of the Who's? Into all these little character affectations. And then Jim Carrey just being Jim Carrey where he didn't need to be Jim Carrey. And you needed an animation, not him. He could have been, it could have been The Grinch, The Mask, Part 3, or whatever. It's just, I don't know. I know there are people out there that like it. I know there are kids out there that like it, and you can't fault the kids for liking it. Nope. But I think if you're past a certain age, I would expect more out of my films. All right. That is my take. Okay. I will pass the ball to you.
All right. Well, I will start this by saying it is my wife's favorite Christmas film.
I'm so happy she's not here right now.
I will say that, like, she really enjoyed the Jim Carrey doing the Grinch, mainly because he took the bit where he's singing and he's doing the "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," and I think her favorite line is the "I wouldn't touch you with a 15, I don't know, half football." Like, you know, it's like, you know, a slightly more sort of louder and just more everything version of the song than was in The Grinch Stole Christmas. I'm sort of conditionally on this film. I don't hate it, but I do hate the Who's in the film.
Christine Baranski and like Molly Shannon, I believe.
See, I've got nothing against the actors and actresses that play the Who's, because I know they can do well. I just don't like the characters of the Who's. Maybe it's just that they're too Christmassy and everything's so jolly and festive. And
so if they make a feature-length version of Horton Hears a Who, you won't be going to see that.
Probably not. No.
All right. Just wanted to make sure.
Okay. I did enjoy Jim Carrey as the Grinch, mainly because I enjoy Jim Carrey just doing Jim Carrey. I prefer it if he
I'm shaking my head.
Yeah, okay.
I know you can't hear that.
I prefer it if he's doing Jim Carrey and it's more along the lines of, let's say, Ace Ventura, or if he's then going the serious route of, say, The Truman Show. I enjoyed him in The Truman Show. I enjoyed him doing Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, one of my favorite films of all time, and that is what Jim Carrey needs to be doing, because I don't know if it's his handlers, himself, the decisions he's making, but I think he has so much more to offer than The Mask type stuff. Even though Ace Ventura is still, I love Ace Ventura. Yep. Second one, okay. But I don't know. I think he's capable of more, and he's shown he's capable of more through The Truman Show and even The Majestic, which wasn't a success, but I think it has its moments. And like I said, Eternal Sunshine, just absolutely beautiful and plays the anti-Jim Carrey character. I mean, that's left to like Kate Winslet to play the Jim Carrey character. But I could go on and on about that movie. Right. But I don't know, for someone that slammed the slapstick in Vacation, Jim Carrey is 100% slapstick.
I will say that most of the reason why I like it is the slight meta things that they do every now and again, like when he's trying to scare Cindy Lou Who, and she's just like, I would like to invite you to this thing, like, I would like to invite you to this thing. And how he just turns to camera and gives the kids today so desensitized with violence on television. And then straight back into being a Grinch.
Maybe I could take another look at it. I don't know.
I mean, it's just...
I think I'm one and done on that one.
No, I would just say there's a couple of bits in there where he's either doing the meta thing or, like, they do the racism joke of, like, taxis, it's because I'm green, isn't it? Just, those little bits that he throws in for the Grinch. That's what I like. I think it's mainly because as I said, I wasn't really a fan of the Grinch That Stole Christmas. So, like, that's maybe this whole thing for me was kind of doomed to failure because I didn't. I don't like the Who's and I didn't like the original cartoon. But at least, when I went to see it, I actually feel like this. Halfway through seeing it for the first time, I threw up. I wasn't feeling well. I ended up throwing up.
I wanted to many times.
Right. I didn't get to see all of The Grinch until about 3 years after it came out. I only saw the first half of it. But
I'd equate it to, there's a song you love when you're a kid, and then you have your musical taste, and then you kind of stop listening to new music at a certain point, with a few exceptions, and then some idiot remakes that song, and you want to murder them. You have Madonna's American Pie, just shit all over Don McLean. I mean, leave the guy alone. He had one hit.
Come on now.
But that's how I kind of equate it to. That's, because it held a special place in my heart. So, in essence, I got to give it a little bit of a pass because it was pretty much doomed to failure. It had very small window of success, probably, for me.
Right.
But it widely missed that window.
I will say, for me, it's one of those ones of, if it's on TV and there isn't anything else worth watching on, like I've not found another film I want to see or a TV show, I'll leave it on. I'll probably be doing something else. I'll probably look up every time there's a bit that I know Jim Carrey will make me laugh as the Grinch, and then that'll be it. It's background noise for me, for the most part.
All right. Well, I quickly want to go into A Christmas Story. And I want to do this quickly, even though I know a lot of you will feel deserves more time. My podcasting partner has not seen this film. I would like him to see this film.
I will.
We weren't clear enough on all of our homework. We didn't really have a well-defined idea yet of everything we wanted to discuss. So, it's a classic, set in 1940s, made in early 80s. You all know the story. It's going to be running for 24 hours every year on TBS. And just remember, you'll shoot your eye out. And ho, 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 and the leg lamp. I called it, I told Paul earlier before we started, I referred to this, I'm sure others of you did as well, as the leg lamp movie in my childhood. I don't know what that says about me. I don't know what, much like Ralphie's fascination when he runs his hand up the thigh and his mother slaps it away. But that's what I called it. I didn't know what it was even called. And of course, the oh fudge moment. We all remember that. So I just wanted to throw my love out to that movie. It's probably, I would say, top 2 favorite Christmas films of all time. Maybe I should amend that top 3, because I just thought top 3 easily. My tops vary on my mood, but I just wanted to cover that quickly, and we'll get Paul to watch that and get his thoughts in a later podcast, possibly.
Oh, yeah. Just make sure you remind me, and I'll get that out.
Of course, I would not. As I write it down in my notes.
Give yourself a tattoo. Xmas story.
I am the guy from Memento. We know that. Who am I? Did I kill my wife? I don't know. Spoiler!
No. Well, now it is.
Or not. Hey, the movie's been out for like 15 years or 10 years or whatever.
Yeah,
you should have seen it.
I think the statute of limitations has been passed.
You should know how much we both love Christopher Nolan, so yes, everything is fair game on that front.
All right.
So yes, we've covered the Grinch, and moving into maybe, how about The Nightmare Before Christmas? Even though it kind of is multi-genres, it kind of covers many genres. It covers horror, kind of, covers animation, covers Halloween films.
Yeah, we did have the brief discussion earlier of whether or not it should be included, and we came to the decision that it is a Halloween film and a Christmas film, very much so. Obviously, Halloween first, then Christmas, as the plot of the film actually goes.
Yeah.
But it is heavily a Christmas film at the end, and definitely worth mentioning, despite the fact that most people don't seem... Like, most television most television stations don't seem to clock on to the fact that it's also a Christmas film. They don't bother with that.
Yeah, and someone who I love both of those holidays, and for different reasons. It's the story of, or the journey of Jack Skellington from loving Halloween to not understanding the idea of what Christmas is.
Yeah.
And
to wanting to do Christmas despite the fact that he doesn't understand it.
Yeah. And it's like I said, I think we both love animation.
Yep.
And I think we're both on board with Tim Burton most of the time.
Yep.
When he's not remaking things with Johnny Depp. Perhaps. I'll speak for myself there. We're going to have a Tim Burton podcast at some point here, I'm sure.
Which will obviously turn into a Tim Burton Johnny Depp podcast, but anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, can you separate the two? But yeah, 90% of it will be that. Yeah, just wanted to quickly mention Nightmare Before Christmas.
At the very least, an honourable mention, as it were.
Yeah, 1993, one of the first movies I ever saw in the theater. That and The Lion King were the first two. So,
good
holds a
first
special
two
place.
films.
Yeah, and both animation. It probably played a big role in developing my love for animation, and especially that style. Well, I mean, they're two completely different styles, Disney and Tim Burton. But seeing Tim Burton's world in animation, his the twisted trees and the gangly characters and stuff, it's just a beautiful movie, and it's a great story.
I will just say very quickly, by now, obviously, we'll probably bring it up in the Tim Burton podcast that we eventually have, but I would say by the time he got to Corpse Bride, it's almost become kind of like a cliche joke.
I enjoyed that, but not nearly to the level of this. And it's a classic, and obviously, see it. What the heck are you doing if you haven't seen it? But I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I'm sure someone old enough to be able to get this podcast has watched The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, and I think we should probably cover here Miracle on 34th Street. A couple of the incarnations.
Yeah, obviously there are several incarnations. Brian has seen the 1940-something.
I believe it's 47,
film version of it, the original, as it were. I have seen, the furthest back I've seen is 1950-something, possibly 53, 55. Yeah. The TV one, the one that was 46 minutes, and very quickly going over, as you said before, if it can be done as a short story, then sometimes that's good. I think, to me, based on the ones I've seen, this is almost a definitive one, because it gets the entire story across. The story that was padded out so well in the one that featured the lovely Matilda, Mara Wilson. I don't know what it was about that film, but that one, I think, was the first time I saw Miracle on 34th Street, and I can't blame Richard Attenborough. He does well as an old man, as he really has done for several films, but it really plods on. And it's like, which is something a Christmas film really shouldn't do. And then this film is the 50s film I really enjoyed, because you've got the old man who is claiming to be Kris Kringle, the actual Kris Kringle, and then you get into the legal ramifications of it. There's the whole we need to get rid of him. We're gonna, we're gonna commit.
I will say, first time it it was a pretty inventive idea and storyline, and definitely something that hadn't been done before.
Yeah, very clever.
Verifying Kris Kringle's identity, and especially to for a child.
I will say that going into it, like the TV film, the 46-minute long one, the way that they go about the Kris Kringle character is brilliant, because you never actually know at the end whether he is or isn't the real Kris Kringle. They're obviously leaning towards he isn't, he's just a nice guy, but there's several things in it that think maybe he is, and he's actually quite manipulative. And then you have a couple of very quick scenes of he sharing his bedroom with the guy who is trying to get with the woman of the picture. They're in the same bedroom, he goes to turn the light out, and the guy said, "Oh no, I'm going to answer the age-old question that has puzzled everyone. Does Santa sleep with his beard up or down?" I had to say before seeing that film that had never crossed my mind. But yeah, it's a lot of really good little things like that. And then of course the way that they dealt with the court case, they had it over relatively quickly, especially compared to the bloody Wilson one. Their whole "in God we trust" circles on the dollar bill, whatever. The way that they deal with this one is that they just have the guy bring in every single letter that's addressed to Santa, and they're like, okay, we've brought this all in, this is every bit of mail addressed to Santa. The US government has said this guy is Santa Claus, and the judge is so happy for this to be over because he's going for re-election. And they even have a quick joke in there of the guy saying, if you say that this guy isn't Santa Claus, then you've got a whole thing. If you say Santa Claus doesn't exist, you have this whole thing, and you'll only have 2 votes for governor. And then as he's leaving the room, he said 1. The other guy's a Republican, and then they walk out. I don't know why that's in there, but that made me chuckle a little bit. And then at the end, he's so happy that this is all on. It's if the US government says that this guy's Santa Claus, I say Santa Claus, case closed, bang. It's it's not this, we say in God we trust. Well, we trust in a God, we must trust that this man is Kris Kringle. That is a bad judge. Bad judge.
bad movie judge, even. Yeah, I've only seen the 1947, and I don't know, we need to get moving, but quickly, it's not one I've seen in years. I have decent enough memories of it. Good enough film. It's not going to, once again, I think generational, perhaps. Yeah, even though there are old films I still really, really, really love. Older being 40s, 50s, and even a couple silent, if we're going way back. But
I even say the original Scarface is much better than the remake myself.
A discussion for another time. But yeah, it's Edmund Gwenn. Don't really know him from anything else, and then Maureen O'Hara, which a couple other things that I can come to mind for her. But yeah, like I said, that's about all there is to say for me. Decent enough. I know it's a lot of people's favorite. Going to see it on this time of year on AMC and probably a lot of different little movie channels. Sit down and watch it with the family. It's a good enough movie. That's my opinion. Yeah, I'm not wowed and I'm not disappointed.
Yep, we're seeing once at least.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty much just don't watch the Mara Wilson version. Nothing against Mara Wilson. Just don't watch that one. Watch
something Mara Wilson.
I do not. I swear. You don't understand. Mara Wilson actually has a bit of a reputation for getting her own back at some of these people. I do not hate Mara Wilson.
All right, let's... I think before we end with a bang, let's run through quickly. I think some that are, spoiler alert, going to be on our naughty list.
Okay.
Run through a couple of crappers here. Jingle All the Way. We can bunch all these together real quick.
We can do a whole podcast on Jingle All the Way.
8 Crazy Nights. Yeah. I don't know. It's the Santa Claus I'm going to throw in there. I don't know. Maybe not for you.
The original one was a good idea, and I didn't hate the film. Yeah. The sequels weren't necessarily needed. Yeah. Definitely going too far. Another Home Alone problem there.
Yeah. I don't have this one written down, but Fred Claus.
Yeah, sorry Vince Vaughn.
Sorry Vince. No one cares about Kris Kringle's brother or whatever you were. I don't care. Watch about 20 minutes of that.
Like that.
But Jingle All the Way, of course, The Governor and Sinbad. Who doesn't love Sinbad?
I don't know.
I don't. Me. I don't.
I don't know if I've even seen him in anything else. I think that's the only film I've seen Sinbad in.
Yeah, I can't even. I know I've seen him in other things, but I've blocked those memories. And yeah. They fight over a toy for an hour and a half. Great movie.
Wow, that actually is the plot.
It is. I want it for my kid. I want it for my kid.
Yeah, he first fights with his neighbor about it, and then he fights with his Sinbad character.
Which Arnold Schwarzenegger would take care of in 2 seconds in a real store.
Yeah.
Pow, you're done. My toy. Movie over.
Even against the legendary Phil Hartman. Just whack, mine.
Yeah. And then 8 Crazy Nights. Really excited for this film at the time. Right. I was a big Adam Sandler fan then. That was kind of the beginning of the end for me with him. Voicing most of the characters, I believe. And most of them sounding the same to me.
They sounded like Adam Sandler.
If you listen to his comedy albums in the early 90s, which I loved, and my friends and I still quote because that's what we were listening to in our bedrooms at low volume so our parents wouldn't hear that we were listening to a parental advisory album. And, that fucking goat, that stuff, and piece of shit car, and, some people know what I mean. But it was that humor at a later time, and it was just silly voices, and it was, I don't know, like the little old man, and, it was Dretch, and I can't believe I sat through the whole movie. I hate not finishing films, and I wish I would have turned that off. I think I rented it or something for like $1 at the video store at the time. The video, yes, I said video store. I got the big old black block and put it in the VCR and watched that.
Yeah, I saw the first 20 minutes of it and changed the channel. I really did.
Yeah. So, and I know technically that refers to Hanukkah, but it's a holiday film.
That was another one we said, it is a winter holiday film based around about the same time as Christmas. We can let it slide. Especially just to mention that we didn't like it. Not for me. And real quickly, I think just because it is regarded as one of the best, It's a Wonderful Life. Yes, Brian?
Shall I go first?
I'll go.
So you can burn me at the stake here in a minute.
Just a forewarning, again, a slight insider joke. Mother, if you're listening, you might want to skip ahead about 2 minutes.
Cover your ears. No, it's not going to be that bad.
But
not as bad as I think. However, I will go with however. The most overrated holiday film of all time.
I will actually agree with you in that it is overrated.
As far as, and I'm talking the creme de la creme, the premier holiday classics. I'm not saying like, it's Home Alone was better. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm saying for what is it regarded as now to this day, the most overrated holiday film ever. It's a nice story. It's a good, decent enough film. You got a guy that sees the error of his ways. Roll credits. I'm showing my life. It's, it is a wonderful life. Every time it wins. Shut up, kid.
Yeah, it's almost like
it's too preachy.
Yeah, it's almost like a Christmas Carol if there was a Ghost of Christmas even more past.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, let me show you someone else whose life would kind of been yours if you hadn't been born or something.
And I love Jimmy Stewart. One of my favorite actors of that generation.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't hate the film. I just think for holiday standards, holiday classics, it is overrated. It belongs among the list of good films of that generation, of Jimmy Stewart movies. But to me, I do not see the hype. I don't see the pedestal exactly. That's fine for people that do. I'm once again send your hate mail to Paul. Hey,
just because I'm the only one checking the emails.
That's right. Send it to the Blockbuster email, of course. Or if you agree, hey, I'm sure there's some people that agree out there. But
probably.
I just wanted to touch on that. Like I said, do not hate the film. I just want to reiterate that. I am not a hater of It's a Wonderful Life. I like the movie.
Right.
Just like I said, holiday standards, nah.
It is a good, nice film.
So we might be on the same page here after all.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I wasn't saying I was on a different page. I was just warning the one person
You're just trying to save face with Mother. Yeah.
I don't see it either that it's this big thing. I do think it's overrated in that sense.
It is overly preachy. Yeah. So overly preachy. I get it. Be decent to people. I got it. Okay, moving on. Bad Santa, we can touch and go, not familiar with. You're not a Billy Bob fan. No. I think Hot and Cold for me with him, and I think it was a with not a lot of Christmas movies coming out in recent years, at least good ones that aren't premiering on ABC Family.
Yeah. Like the Mistletoe.
Yeah, or Santa Baby. Whatever. I thought it was good enough. I just like seeing that kind of character, the curmudgeon, fed up with life kind of guy who has his heart touched by a kid. And for that reason, I think it's a decent enough movie. It's definitely not in my rotation. It's not something I'll probably ever buy. Even in the $5 bin, I'll But
I might give it another chance just because, like, Billy Bob Thornton, as a general rule, I'm not a fan, but there are some roles of his that I like, so I'd be willing to give it another go just to give it fair news.
But yeah, I wanted to mention that, and I believe, are we ready to
Yep, I say we head into the last one, which is
Elf.
The Wolf Owl comedy Christmas attempt.
And the, in my opinion, the most successful modern, I'm not just speaking financially, in what they set out to do, make a modern film classic, or Christmas classic, which is what I regard it as. It has forever earned that holiday rotation. Right. And I was just listening to Mark Maron's podcast today, his What the Fuck podcast, which is a wonderful podcast, by the way. But he was...
not to plug other people's
No. Hey, maybe someday he could be plugging ours. As I come back down to earth here, he was interviewing Jon Favreau, which was, of course, the director of Elf, and they briefly talked about the film, and he said that was his happiest memory, or the thing he's most proud of, is that what they set out to do has happened. Like the expectations, he's like kind of went that way, and he's so proud that it's like a holiday tradition now for so many families. Right. And he's like, that was incredibly important to him. So
if he's remembered for nothing else,
and that was really like what opened the doors for him. They talked about like he was director at, and I believe the first major film he directed that he had not his material, but just. I know you are not the biggest, and not in the Will Ferrell camp, not the biggest, fan.
I will say I am. Will Ferrell doing the full comedy, like Talladega Nights, Anchorman, stuff like that. I don't get it myself. It's not my style of humor. My favorite Will Ferrell film is the one film where he's not doing any of that.
Casa de Mi Padre?
Yes, that's the one. No, it is one that for some reason is escaping my mind. It's the one
memorable experience, was it?
It's the one where he is playing a guy who it turns out is the character in a book that someone else is writing.
Stranger Than Fiction.
Than Fiction. Thank you
with
very
Maggie
much.
Gyllenhaal, and one of my favorite Will Ferrell films, and probably favorite films in the past 10, 15 years.
Again, a fairly unique premise, and I love him.
He's the anti-Will Ferrell, much like the Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine. This is the anti-Will Ferrell.
Yeah, he is not doing comedy as he has been doing, and
he's the
introvert.
He's the quiet introvert, and who's opened up by the extrovert Maggie Gyllenhaal.
It shows he is a really good actor. I just don't get his I will give him.
I will not forgive him for Bewitched or Semi-Pro.
I will give him The Other Guys. I watched that, and
that makes my teeth hurt.
I liked him in that, so him doing that type of comedy. He's not going too far. He's not being the idiot. That is the things I have problems.
I watched that film very hungover on New Year's Day, so that probably wasn't the best time to see that movie, but I had no patience for that movie. Maybe I'll give it another try at some point.
All right, well, you got Will Ferrell not being a complete idiot. He's just being a bit naive.
You got Marky Mark, you
got Mark Wahlberg, and Steve Coogan makes a few appearances.
All right, but
maybe worth rewatching.
Elf, I mean, not only do you have Will Ferrell, you have legend James Caan. Come on, James Caan, whose favorite film decade is the 70s. I love me some Jimmy Caan. And Bob Newhart. I mean, my family religiously watched Newhart and then the Bob Newhart Show. I don't know if you watched those at all, but
I have not seen them, but I have heard of them. He is
fantastic, even though they pull the wool over your eyes in one of those shows with the finale. Some of you know what I'm talking about. But you got Ed Asner in there. Mary Steenburgen.
Waiting for it.
And if anyone has listened to a couple of these podcasts, if you didn't have enough reasons, Zoe Deschanel.
There it is. We made it.
We know my feelings on Zoe. Call me. Still. Please. But yeah. Not digging the hair. Not really, a fan of the blonde hair, but she does her own singing, which I love her duo, she and him. Fantastic records, old classical music. Not classical, but classical stylings. Yeah. And does the singing of, Baby It's Cold Outside when, Will Ferrell joins in and, and just, it's cold out, and, get out of here, great. Even though the Santa Claus is coming to town at the end, I thought it was a little schmaltzy. But
Schmaltzy in a Christmas film? No.
It's kind of a standard of Christmas films. It has to be given a certain pass. They're going to hit you with it at some point. We all need to love each other, arms around, sing. And
that is actually one of the reasons why Christmas films as a whole I'm generally not too fond of, mainly because there's always that message of, be good to each other.
I think we both like the challenge of having to think and maybe not always having things tied up into a neat little bow, things ending unpleasantly or in an ambiguous or vague nature. But, that's very rarely the case in a Christmas film.
Yeah, if at all. I'm not sure I can think of a single one.
But
maybe A Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have to say, once again, top 2, probably my favorite Christmas film.
Right.
It's just one I will watch over and over and over and over. I have a friend of mine, Heather, I want to give a shout out to, that we will quote this forever and ever, just all year round, not just Christmas time. Just answer the phone, Brian Klosterman, what's your favorite color? Walking through the grocery store, seeing the Keebler grams. Ooh, what's a Christmas gram? I want one. Just line after line, and it just so much. I love the innocence of the character, mainly. The note he writes when he's done enough damage to the family. So I'm sorry, I ruined your lives, and crammed 11 cookies into the VCR. It's just, love it. And I love the 4 major food groups, candy corns, and syrup, Like, oh, you really love sugar, don't you? Is there sugar in syrup? Yes. Then yes. I will stop myself. I promise.
Okay.
Get something to smack me.
I'll do that.
Not your hand. Yeah, something's on. But and then Bob Hart as Papa Elf, who allows him to go on this journey to find his real father, who lives in the Big Apple. And it's just a fantastic, wonderful, heartwarming film. I don't know if there's more to say from my end. If you have anything to add on that.
Well, I would just say, again, this is another one where my wife really likes this film. It's up there for her as favourite Christmas film. And although she's more of a Will Ferrell film fan than I am.
As am I.
Yeah. So I originally tried to watch it and just couldn't. Like it was, I saw it as Will Ferrell doing Will Ferrell as he normally does, and I couldn't do it. I got to see it again recently. I watched an hour and 10 minutes of it, around about the time where he starts to call the little person, if we're going PC,
Peter Dinklage,
an elf, and they do that whole thing. And
call me elf one more time. You're an elf.
All right,
he must be a self-called elf.
But I saw it today, and then I kind of jumped off at that point. I don't think it's a bad film. It's just definitely one of those ones where it's not really for me. It's not aimed at me.
That's fair enough, and
I mean, solid performances from everyone in it. I can't fault the people in it.
No. And it has a great supporting cast and just small bits by Artie Lang, Kyle Gass of Tenacious D. You got Andy Richter in there. Faison Love as the department store manager, and Amy Sedaris, who works in Jimmy Kahn's office. Amy Sedaris is just a genius as far as comedy. And then Peter Dinklage, unfortunately for short people, who usually gets the job when there's a role.
Well, I would say that there's 3. There's him, there's Vern Troyer, and then there's Deep Roy. In case you're not aware, Deep Roy would be the Oompa Loompas in the
the Indian guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Who I'm sure little people aren't a big fan of because because they duplicated him in that
he
Johnny
played
Depp
every
thing.
single one of those.
Yeah, which we'll get to in the Tim Burton thing to call back to that. But yeah, love it. Love Ed Asner as Santa. I know that guy. I know him. As I misquoted it.
There's no Santa.
Yeah.
That scene always made me groan. There's no Santa. It's too innocent for me, I think, that character.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, come on. When he sees the world's greatest cup of coffee in the window. Come on. Don't we all strive to just be that innocent and pure? And
I will say, that's good writing.
Yeah.
That particular scene.
Best cup of coffee, yeah. And the idea, like, when he goes on the date with Jovi, that is a place to go because it is the world's best cup of coffee. And close your eyes. It's like a crappy cup of coffee. Bit nutty. Tastes like shit.
It is shit. Oh, it's not just me.
Movie references. Oh. And I think we're about ready to wrap up our holiday special. We might want to do our naughty and nice list here real quick.
All right. Well, why don't you go first then?
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not going to mention every movie we talked about, but the ones I feel strongly on. Let's start off with the naughty. Not getting a lump of coal would be Home Alone for me.
Right.
The Grinch modern version. Jim Carrey version. 8 Crazy Nights. Jingle All the Way, of course. You get a whole sack full of coal. Am I leaving any out? The Santa Claus didn't really work for me. And I think I said 8 Crazy Nights. Would you like to cover your naughty list?
Yeah, sure. My naughty list.
Crossover, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, Home Alone I'm putting in there just because I would say the two saving people would be the burglars. Everyone else is either
Daniel
complete,
Stern and Joe Pesci, yeah.
Everyone else is either a complete idiot or over the top. Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
That I don't see the fact that it's done at Christmas. It kind of just means it has to be in the Christmas thing. It's like that. I don't have much love for that film. I would say Chevy Chase's Christmas Vacation. I don't want to watch that again.
That's okay.
I can't.
You're free to leave the country, Annie.
I can't say it's a bad film.
You want to, though. You want to.
I just don't want to watch that again.
That's
For me, it was boring, which, with the exception of the couple of bits that talked about, and I don't think that's ever a good thing for a film. And I will agree, Jingle All the Way is definitely in the naughty list. However, it's almost a guilty pleasure for me in that if it's on, I'll probably watch a scene or two. Okay. But mainly just to see Phil Hartman being a complete arsehole. That is that film's saving grace is Phil Hartman, if that's the only reason you ever watch it.
And real quickly, making it onto my nice list would be Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah. Just one of the most innovative movies of its day and still. And I will go ahead and throw Christmas Vacation in there.
All right, fair enough.
I could even qualify that as a guilty pleasure. Not to the extent of Jingle All the Way. But I will say I smile through the parts now. I don't laugh. It is the test of time is washing away. The erosion has taken place somewhat,
but it's still there.
But it's still for me, and it's still there for me, and it's it's still a little bit of that nostalgia factor, a little sentimentality. I will go Christmas Story. Just I think one of the funniest and one of the best pieces of Americana as far as film goes, and I mean just a classic. Scrooged, my favorite telling of A Christmas Carol, and just Bill Murray doing what Bill Murray does, and can't go wrong. And
sorry.
Okay, I did not understand your notes, sir.
Wrong side there. Sorry.
And I will go ahead and say I think I'm just leaving out Elf. Which is probably by and large my favorite. It probably varies with A Christmas Story given the time of year, but Elf is one of those I think I can watch 365 days a year. Christmas Story feels weird outside of that time frame for me, as with Christmas Vacation. But Elf, I mean, you can't go wrong for me.
Elf, I would say it's very much the story of him learning to find himself rather than the fact that it's Christmas, which is what Vacation is, obviously.
Yeah, it's the Christmas setting and with he's an elf. An adoptive elf, but still an elf. And your nice list.
All right, well, some of them you've already mentioned. Scrooge, I would say, for me, my favourite Christmas film. Just because it's Bill Murray giving the comedy, and it's a solid portrayal of a Christmas Carol, which most people would probably say is a quintessential Christmas
It is,
tale.
I was just going to chime in with that. It's like what you think of when you think of a heartwarming Christmas tale.
Yeah, I would not say that I'm normally for a heartwarming Christmas tale, but the Christmas Carol done right, can be very good. Nightmare Before Christmas, again, very good. I've actually put the Santa Claus 1 on this list because no matter when it's on, I'll watch it because I think Tim Allen's good in it. I like some of the jokes that go into it. I really like the psychiatrist that is marrying the ex-wife. Just how much everyone wants to punch the guy. The sequels, as we said earlier, just... But,
okay. Well,
and then I have to put this in just because I know a lot of American listeners won't have seen it, but the English thing, like Frosty, whatever, The Snowman is only 30 minutes long. It is fantastic animation and old style. I want everyone that's listening to this that hasn't seen it to watch it, and that's why it's in there, because
fair enough.
It's just
fair
one
enough.
Of those things
I can't fault you. I haven't seen it.
I'm sure when you do see it, you probably will fall. You'll be like, really? That was terrible. But whatever.
Yeah. So, hit us up on Twitter with what you feel we've left out, what you agree with.
What you don't agree with.
I'm sure there's plenty of that, but... your favorites and why, in 140 characters or less.
Facebook, if you absolutely can't keep up with that.
If you can't be brief. Yeah, and I think that's going to do it for us.
Yep, that'll do it for us for today.
Yep, and remember, if you see gum on the street, leave it there. It isn't free candy. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Santa's laughter mocks the poor and you're to blame tonight. The poor liability that taunts you